And if you were here the last time we met as women, we talked about what we have in our hands. Women of purpose, what do we have in our hands? And we remember that we talked about a woman called Jael. Who remembers that story? We remember the story of Jael, right? And I mean, if you think about Jael, she had every reason to have an excuse. So for those of you who don't know that story, it's in Judges chapter 4. You can write that down. Judges chapter 4, 4 and 5. Well, chapter 4 is the main story. Chapter 5 is more of Deborah's song about Jael. Because after that encounter Jael had, Deborah had to sing about it. It was such a wonderful experience. So please go home and read that scripture all on your own. Now, what had happened was the people of Israel, again, they've wandered just like any other thing. And God was using Deborah as a judge. And they will come, she'll judge them. And she was that woman, that guiding light to them at that point in time. And God had said to her that, oh, go forth, there's a battle. Every reason to give excuses. Because how can a battle be delivered in one woman's hand? But the opportunity landed on her feet. Sisera ran into her tent. And just like any other thing, she recognized an opportunity. She recognized timing. And she was willing to be used. And what happened? A hammer, a peg, and milk. Can you imagine? Hammer, peg, milk. What a wonderful tool. And that's why the title of our message today is, What is in your hands? What is in your hands? Now, we women were wonderful. There's just no way we can describe us. In fact, how many of you realize that in Genesis 2 verse 18, when God created us, we were a solution to the very first problem on earth? Did you realize that? Oh, wow. Let's go there. Genesis 2 verse 18. We'll see how God, he looked at us and he's like, wow. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. There was one problem, loneliness. And God said, I will make him and help meet. That was the creation of woman. And since then till date, think about it. Have we not been helped meet? We solve problems, but for us to solve problems, what's the first step? We have to even recognize there is a problem, right? Now, there's been many, many women in the Bible, many, that have recognized problems and recognized their roles. We're going to look at some of those women as we also take the time to reflect on ourselves and reflect on the role we play. Because motherhood is not just about the child you biologically bring to life. There's so many people that you come in contact with. You become a nurturer to those people. You become a mentor to those people. That is motherhood in the big scale or in the grand scale. And recognizing is step number one. Willingness is step number two. There is a woman, again, in the Bible, Jochebed. Who knows who that woman is? Let's see, Bible lesson 101. Who's Jochebed? The mother of Moses. Now, as I was studying this message, I was wondering, wow, she must have been something else. See, Moses was born at a difficult time in history, but his mother single-handedly made it a point of duty that he was not going to be statistics. Why? The king had ordered that every male child that is born be killed. Exodus 2 verse 2, if we can go there, we see that, described Moses as beautiful. Acts 7 verse 20 said there was something unique about Moses. Okay? As the woman conceived. So Exodus 2:2. Go back. And bare a son. And when she saw him, he was a goodly child. She hid him 3 months. That was the act that she did. Now, going against the king, back in the day when the king had made a decree that every son must die. What does that mean? You can kill me instead, but not this child. That was that step that she took. She was willing to go against the king's command, even though death was a certainty for her. And you know what? The rest is history. I asked myself, why did she do that? But look at something else. Her faith preserved generations, because it was through Moses that they led the children of Israel out of Egypt. That was one act of motherhood. Now, again, she was willing to die, but not my son. And because of that willingness, ideas started to flow. Oh, I'm going to put him in a basket. I'm going to put him in the river. When Pharaoh's daughter is taking a shower, opportunities started to open because of that willingness. And that is grace. Again, we always have to recognize. Today we're going to talk about the widow of Zarephath. And see, we can go on and on and on and on about so many women. But that widow, when you hear the word widow, what do you first think? Poverty? Oh my God, widow, poverty. What else? A woman, yeah. She has lost someone. So, that woman, that widow, it's as sad as it is. My mother-in-law recently became a widow. Well, maybe not recently. And I can see the way loneliness has set in. Because she's been married to him for what, 57 years. She calls us every day. Every day. And you dare not answer, because she's become the persistent widow. She will call you and call you and call you, that no matter what you're doing, pick up that phone. And sometimes it's not because she has anything grandeur to say to you. She does it to my daughter too. She's just calling you because she wants to say, how are you? So, widowhood, loneliness, pain is another thing you can associate with this woman. Pain. There's been a loss. And with a loss, you almost feel sometimes when you go into that state that something has left you. It's a big gap. You cannot feel it because the person is just not there. Let us open our Bibles to 1 Kings 17. We're going to read about this woman. 1 Kings 17 from verse 8 to 16. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Arise, Go thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. And as he was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thy hand. Go back. He arose, he went to the city, he met the widow, she was fetching, and he started by saying, I pray thee, fetch me a little water. So I want us to keep note of the steps. And she did. Bring me a morsel of bread in their hand was number 2. Continue. And she said, As the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in, dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. I'm going to pause here before we continue, so stay there for a bit. So we've been able to establish that she's lonely, she's in pain. Now we've confirmed that she's actually poor, because she's now picking sticks as firewood. And what else? She has enough food for 1 meal. Not 2, 1. Now, I was wondering that if we've been able to establish that there's lack, I also remembered that there was famine in the land. Something that Elijah had declared. So, now, the very first part, verse 8, we could see that God told Elijah, go. But we could not see that God spoke to the woman and say, Elijah is coming. I kept going back to see that where did God notify the woman of Zarephath that, hey, Elijah is coming. But when he asked her for water, she did not object. She quickly provided. And then when he asked her for cake, she explained her situation. She told him, what I have will make cake, but I was going to make it for me and my son. Now let's continue. And Elijah said unto her, verse 13, Fear not, go do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first. Bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. See, honestly, it takes someone who is spiritually sensitive to be able to do what this widow did. Because, the mother instinct in you, just think about it, will want to first say, but I just told you that this is the only food for my, especially when son is involved. Take my own portion, but not my child. That is just who we are. He talked about the child at basketball. There are times that our children come to us and they're in pain and we are like, oh God, put this pain on me instead. Let this child not have to go through this. We were talking, a couple of friends and I were talking about, how are we raising our children these days? We don't want them to suffer the way we suffered. So these days, we even shield them more. And someone was said to us, are we not causing a problem in this generation? Because what we went through made us who we are. Why are we trying to shield our children? They should experience it too. And that's just motherhood. It's the mother instinct in us. But she, first of all, I realized she was spiritually alert because God did not give her heads up. Elijah was the one who approached her. And keep in mind, he wasn't a man from her city. He was an outsider. Stranger danger? Strange man, run. Don't talk to him. But she stood there and she entertained him and she obeyed and she followed. Now, one of the biggest things that I learned, and I learned it earlier on when I was still pregnant, was the need as a mother to be spiritually alert. Because the truth is, a woman of God once said it, and I don't know, my spirit caught it, that before your child manifests anything physically, it's been settled in the spirit. So the reason why you missed that misbehavior is because you missed the spiritual indicators. So I, for one, took that as a guiding light in my motherhood, because let me tell you the truth. We are one group of people that no matter what we do is never enough. That mother's guilt, how many of you experience it on a daily basis? You feel like, oh, you're not doing enough. Even though you are breaking your back, you're not doing enough. You know, we wear multiple hats. When they fall down, we play doctor. We come, we start fixing their knee, helping them. When they say we are bored, they're bored. What? We are class clowns. We play entertainer. We try to make them happy because they are bored. When they come to you and say, oh, mommy, I'm so sad. What do? You're a therapist. When they are hungry, you're what? Chef. When they make a mess, you're a cleaning lady. What else do they do? When they need to buy something, you're ATM. What? We're bank. We're so many things. When math is difficult, you're what? Resident teacher. Even though you don't even understand it, you step into that role. Sometimes they don't even realize. That's why sometimes kids say, oh, my mom is a superhero. No, she just keeps wearing different hats. And she keeps filling in the gap. And that's motherhood for us. And now tell me, we do all that and yet we still feel like we're not doing enough. Talk about mother's guilt. It's very, very real. Every woman experiences it. Every woman. And you can imagine what this widow is going through as her own mother's guilt at this time. That all I have is one meal. I'm sure she did not tell her son that after this food, we're all going to die. That's again the thing we do. We keep things in us. Now, this woman definitely, with no doubt, was going through her own struggles. She was lonely. She was in pain. The Bible did not tell us how long ago she lost her husband. It could be long ago. It could be recent. There was a gap. There was a void. And now, from verse 14, after Elijah said she should go make him that small cake, he said, for thus said the God of Israel. No, go back to 13. What happened here? Fear not. He gave her first a reassurance. Make me therefore a little cake first. Bring it unto me, and make for thee and thy son. Next. For thus said the Lord God of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And she and he and her house did eat many days, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. God provided because he's Jehovah Jireh. I wondered why this verse 15 was even very important. Not only did God provide, you see, first of all, the battle of her mind. She did not fight this man. Why? Because God had worked on her mindset. We're not going to argue with this man. We don't know who this man is, but I guess maybe the way he presented himself to her, he didn't record to us that he said, "Oh, I am Elijah, the man of God." No. He said, "I pray thee." So there's something in her that recognized that spiritual connection. She was sensitive. She was alert. So when he now went and he asked, keep in mind, he asked for everything she had left. Everything, not some. And she took everything. She made it all and she gave it to this stranger. It was what was left in her hands. It was what was left for her to provide for her family. God does funny things, I'm telling you. There was famine in the land. We've been able to establish it at this end. But look at it. It's not like 2 loaves of bread and 5 fishes that they had baskets and baskets. The Bible said she went and she did according to the saying of Elijah. She and he and her house did eat many days. I was wondering that, there was famine in the land. Did nobody get the memo that there's food at this widow's house? All roads could have led to this widow's house because there was hunger. I'm sure her neighbors were hungry. But again, because she was a widow, the spotlight was not on her. Nobody was thinking about her as the place where you will find extra. You see, sometimes people are not expecting anything from us. They underestimate who you are. They don't see you coming. They put you in a box and you put yourself too in that box. And then you find comfort and we all stay there together. That is that widow. She had many days of food supply. Her neighbors, no doubt, would have been hungry and in lack. Now, if it's back home, we'll say, they didn't come and rob her. Well, guess what? The bowl of flour and the cruse of oil, every time she poured, she had enough for that meal. Every time she poured, she had enough for that meal. So there was progression. Every day, there was sufficiency for that day. Tomorrow, she poured again. The next day, she poured again. This is when God is at work. See, this widow woman understood something. It is not because we are the smartest people, the wisest women, we knew how to play our game, that we enjoy the things we enjoy today. The truth is grace. Recognizing God's grace as a woman. I mean, Elaine is not here. But I learned a lot from Elaine with Tejan. Because I used to be one of those moms that, oh my God, I don't want my kids going out without me. Life 360, I need to see where you are moving. Turn left, I want to know. Turn right, I want to know. But one day, she's like, oh, he's taking the bus. And I'm like, oh, you're going to let him take the bus? He's like, yep, you'll figure it out. And I was like, wow, that's your only child. You don't got two. At least I got two. And she's like, well, Toni, I've learned that it is God that keeps them. You know, from that day, I disabled Life 360. Like, God keeps them. It is not because we know how to say the right words or we play the right game. God is ultimately the one who keeps our homes, who shields our children. Do you want to even bother yourself knowing what is happening in their schools? Honestly, you don't want to know. The first day Nicole walked into high school, she came back. I was like, oh, for me, as a mom, it was first day of high school. So, how is school? What happened? And then they started talking about all the smoking and drinking and alcohol going on in high school. And I was like, wait, what? Where are your teachers? So, oh, the teachers just don't come to that section. I was like, what? They don't? The teachers avoid it. The things that happen under their staircases or in their bathrooms. I think after I heard a glimpse, I stopped asking. I started praying. I don't even want to know more. That is trusting God for the well-being of our children. We live in very, very dangerous times. You can't be that helicopter all the time over them. But what can you do? On our knees. Oh man. Structure, form, fashion things in the spirit. So that when these children come and they are walking in it, they are wondering like, oh, wow. See, she got to university year 1. She had nice roommates. She came out and she's like, Mom, I'm sure you prayed about it. I laughed. Why? Oh my God. Before she got there, I've been praying. And God answered that prayer in and out. We know our children. Before she got to university, I told God, I'm like, my daughter is socially awkward. And I'm sure you know that. First of all, it's the truth. She doesn't talk to you. It's not because she doesn't want to talk to you. She's shy. Give her roommates that would understand her. Give her roommates that will support her. Give her roommates that would not pull her to go the wrong way, because this is the first time she's living outside her home. I asked God, give her Christian roommates. That didn't really happen. But one of the things I said to God, let them not influence her character, her attitude, and may she continue to remember the values that her parents have impacted in her. Did God answer my prayer? Every single bit of it. And you know the funny thing? I did it in silence, not in front of her. But she knew that was an answered prayer. Because she walked up to me, she said, I knew you pray about this. They supported each other, 4 girls, all of them trying to be engineers and mathematicians. So everybody was going to class. So she didn't think of the option of skipping classes because they were all holding each other accountable. I mean, the one that was weird, but my own kid is weird too. So they were all weird together and they were paired together in the same bathroom. It tells us that even the little things matter. Now, kids don't always say thank you in real life. They still fight us. And we still fight them. And that's the joy of motherhood. We don't know when they're ever going to be grateful. But we're never going to get tired because our job does not take what? Leave of absence. Let me see, when last did I take a leave of absence from being a mom? 20 years ago, before I became a mom. When last did I take a break? Even when I'm sick on the bed, somebody is still coming. My back is still paining. And guess what? Not only the children that we gave birth to, the ones we also married. No, skip that part. My back is paining me. But where's that? Oh my God, when he is hunting me down for documents, check is there. And then he's standing in front of the file. I can't see it. It's there. I can't see it. It's right in front of you. But you're not pointing properly. All I do is I just walk and I get it. Here you go. Oh, and it was right there. Yep, it was. This just happened yesterday, by the way. Oh, yeah. Now, Elijah asked, she responded. And I believe 100% this woman did not respond because it was convenient for her. The Bible did a great job laying that foundation. She was in a very difficult time in her life. It was a very uncomfortable position. It was also a very difficult request. But there was one thing it showed every step of the way. And Elijah was like every typical man, very needy. Go get me water. She went, she got water. Now go get me bread. Why didn't you ask for the water and the bread together? So he made sure he tried her a little bit. Go, come back, go, come back. But she did not complain for once. And she took everything. Keep in mind, everything. Now, sometimes we underestimate what we have in our hands. We never really take that into consideration, that even in the little, that's a tool. Just like Jael, that is a tool. It is a tool to either save generations, is a tool to impact somebody. Keep in mind, Elijah wasn't the best. He was also a man in need. He had caused trouble there. He has caused trouble. So God keeps sending him to different places. And he found comfort for many days in the house of the widow of Zarephath. A widow. Not a married woman with a man that has many food and no, a widow. You see, God has a good sense of humor. The people he picks, how he places them, the foundation, the stories he tells before things manifest, they all stack up. And it gives you an idea of how he truly sees things. He doesn't see things through the eyes that men see those things. Because man would have said, why go to the widow? Go to the next door neighbor. The husband is a farmer. He's alive. And they can figure it out. But he always speaks. And it is a test. It is a trial. But it is most importantly an opportunity. So when we look at things from test, trial, difficulties, we stay there. But when we look at things from the lens of opportunities, we make progress. Because that's who we are as women, problem solvers. And guess what? Around us, think about it, work, school, let's keep naming. There's always issues. I'm going to round up with this story. When I worked at York Region, I say my daughter is antisocial. I'm also antisocial. That's the truth. I'm awkward socially too. Guess she got it from somewhere. I realized that I need to work on myself. I don't go to the staff room for lunch. I don't do any of those. I stay in my classroom. And then I was getting tired. At the end of the day, I'm tired because I didn't walk away. I didn't take a break. So I decided, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start going to the staff room. So I will pack myself a decent lunch, not a shake that I'm drinking because I'm in the classroom. And I went to the staff room. The first day I went to the staff room, I could not help but notice everybody was speaking smack about their husbands. I was like, wow, is this what the staff room is? Everybody's talking, oh God, my husband is a this, my husband is a lazy this, is a this, doesn't do anything. It was one story, husband story or the other. I came back the next day. It was the same thing. So I was like, oh, this is why people don't go to the staff room. This conversation is awkward. But the Holy Spirit ministered to me every day. My physical body didn't want to go back to that staff room. But spiritually, I just kept finding myself ending up in that staff room every day. I think I've told him the story. Week 1 passed. I was like, God, I can't do this. Week 2, I came back to that staff room. Week 3, someone said, Toni, you've been sitting there so quiet. You don't want to talk to us? Why? We're not good enough? Oh, that was my road. When she said, oh, we're not good enough, I said, well, you guys talk about your husbands and I love mine. So I feel like I don't fit in. And they were all, you could hear a pin drop after I said that. I said, because my husband is the most amazing man on this earth. And I just started, honestly, I think I talked for like 15 minutes. And when I turned around, I was like, man, someone should have recorded it so that I could send it to this man to see that I talk about him. I said all the amazing things about him. People were quiet. Pin could drop. And then the next day, guess who goes back to the staff room? This time around, my head high, my lunch bag. I was very confident and I marched into the staff room. I was like, yep, we're going back there. But what did I do? I ain't go with just my lunch alone. I took Uno. Took Uno cards to the lunchroom. It's like, if these women are so bored that we're going to trash talk husbands all through our lunch hour, and after I talked for 15 minutes, nobody had a comeback to that conversation because that lunch that day was funny. After I finished talking, it was, you think that someone passed away. Nobody said anything after that. We only had chairs being talked in. I took Uno and I started playing Uno. I was like, oh, who wants to play Uno? And we started playing Uno in the staff room. You know, 2 days, 3 days, the next week, people had come with different cards. And I was able to change that environment because I recognized the problem. And the truth is, I could have just sat down at that back and not said a word because that's my person. I will not talk. I don't believe in going with the crowd. If what the crowd is doing doesn't work for me, you're not hearing my voice. But the story changed. Things shift. And the reason I'm using that story as an opportunity is things happen. Things happen consistently around us. Don't underestimate what you have in your hands, because that could be your tool to make a difference. Maybe they didn't say it or speak good about their husbands in front of me, but they definitely learned one thing from me. Because one of the things I said to them is that you kiss your husband with that same mouth and you come here and speak smack about him. They heard that loud, clear from me. I don't do that. What is mine, I bless. It doesn't matter how difficult. And staff room is not a place for me to start hanging my dirty laundry. What is mine, I would always bless. Even what is not mine, I will bless. because I understand the power that can come from our mouth. Hallelujah.